Hello, we're back again, and this is June Alma, the June Alma Show, and we have as guests tonight the Italian ambassador, Ambassador Luca Fornani, and the cultural attaché, Professor Emanuela Adesini. Okay, back to you, Ambassador. We were talking earlier about also the influence of capital cities around the world. For instance, Rome is your capital, right? And a lot of important developments have sprung from the capital city of Rome. Tell us how about the Roman Catholicism? Would you like to share with our televiewers how it has evolved from out of the capital city of Rome?
Well, of course, Rome, and one of the reasons why Italy is in the heart of Filipino is because the Pope and the Catholicism that you have in the Filipinas. And you have a very active ambassador to the Holy See. That is, she is very keen to bring the Catholicism towards and to link the two countries because of the links with the Pope and the approach. Here you have a very active nuncio, representative from the Pope, that also is very active and is very his activity is quite positive because he's bringing the word of the Pope to the and the Vatican to the Filipinas.
But when we speak about religion, of course, religion, Catholicism is in our blood, we can say, because when we are born, we are Catholic by birth, we can say, because this is the basic religion. So our approach to the religion is natural, because nobody imposed, at least for the generations, for the new generations, but I'm speaking about centuries, for generation in centuries, Catholicism was already there. So although the Pope, as a king, historically speaking, was governing parts of Italy, from Rome up to Bologna, so from the region Emilia-Romagna and even more, but from the religious point of view, it had already influenced all the regions. So we are born Catholics. So Catholicism is not a matter of going to church and attending a mass. It's part of our life. It's something more intimate.
Yeah. So it's very similar to our experience here in the Philippines. There's not absolute agreement with the church when it comes to the state, and there's not absolute agreement when it comes to some things that the Catholic Church would want the state to do. And you know those controversies right now, but that's for another show. Yeah.
But tell me, how many are practicing Catholics among the Italians? What is the percent?
Around, say, 85%.
Oh, 85.
85%
So there's still
we are about 60 million.
Vast majority.
50 million.
And the rest?
The majority.
Are
Well, we have also
Protestant?
Muslim, or we are Protestants, we have Hinduist. Well, we have a lot of. Remember that about 4 million people are immigrate from foreign countries, all the countries. This means from India, from Pakistan, from Arab countries. This means, and all of them, they bring their own religion.
So, like Ambassador, Rome is a very, very potent, powerful city because besides influencing the religion the world over,
Sure.
it is also in Roman mythology. They said that the goddess of Rome was there in the Capitoline of Rome, and so that is where the first central bank was, and the goddess Juno was there, and thereafter the central banks around the world started setting up their structures. So is it true that the banking system around the world is also sourced, coming from Rome?
Maybe the
No,
system is
certainly Rome had his own financial system, but we not can say that the modern banking system is not coming from Rome, but it coming from Florence. That was because there was big bankers in Florence.
Yeah.
Among them also the Medicis.
Medici,
They giving money, lending money to the emperor or to kings around that world. That means France, Spain, and and the other prince that need money. And this means the modern banking system is born in the 16th century, around the 15th century in Florence, more than Rome. Rome, no, at that moment was certainly not, were receiving money, but was not.
So we have the Italians to thank for all the money problems we
Yeah.
have right now.
Yeah, well, but in that period, but in that period, it was a very, it was an increasing economy.
Yeah.
It was during Renaissance. That was the most, the best period
Yes.
from
Art,
any
culture, and
point of view,
Renaissance,
including
also.
economy and
True,
finance.
yes.
Actually, the word bank comes from bancus, Latin, and bancus was the desk or the counter,
Which is where?
which is it was a desk that was used by the Florentine bankers to do their banking transactions.
And then, Ambassador, I read also in your background that you were in charge of the European integration when you were back in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
For
I was not. I was not in charge of
Oh,
this.
well, you were involved.
I'm an expert
Oh.
on what's going on in Brussels, but in a very specific on culture, because there are a lot of culture activities that are financed by Brussels, by the European Union, and above all from development aid activities. I was for about 10 years in charge of, for Italian side, of the developing activities that is going on in Brussels.
So you were also involved with the development of the euro, because we're talking about money and banking now.
No. This
for
is
the European integration.
You must understand one thing, that European Union is two completely different words. One is internal, between among the 27 countries, 27, and this is internal politics of the European Union. And then another one is external aid, the external activities, and they are two completely different branches. And I was following the second one without making any influence on the first. I was just representing the Italian position in Brussels, try to convincing the other member to do a better job in China or in the Philippines or in Africa on the development aid. This was my relationship with for 10 years on this. And then I move on culture, because there is a committee, a huge committee, or made by a member state. They are dealing on culture, how to export, preserve and accord the culture in Europe, and then how to send and making very well known the European culture around the world. This was a second.
So you were a very influential consultant.
That's what I wanted to ask His Excellency, because, and the Honorable Attaché for Culture, because how you have influenced the whole world, because your food, your culture is everywhere, and we not only admire, but we love everything Italian. So
yes, but one thing is a culture coming from the country. You are speaking about, we were speaking before about food, but there is also arts, there is opera, Just opera. This year we had, for the first time after 25 years, 3 operas: the Barber of Sevilla, the Traviata, and Madame Butterfly. Madame Butterfly. And this after 20 years of absentia. This means no opera at all in Manila. And this is something that may make an influence, because first of all, opera is Italian. It means Italian language. As this is a fantastic boast for Professor Adesini as a cultural attaché, because he can use this tool to improve the Italian language in the Philippines. More than 4,500 people participate to these three operas, and then way to say also the approach of culture. We had last year, for example, a session of restoration, how to restore the past, Filipino past, because of course there are a lot of you have a fantastic past due the Spanish influence and Spanish presence here, and who has with beautiful not only church but also paintings and tradition, and this is part of the soul of the country, of the Philippines. And Italy is also, remember, that is not just what is Italian, matter of fact is an influence of Spanish, of Germans, of France, of Arabic countries. This means not only food, but also art, also culture.
So I wanted to ask, in the next segment, Ambassador, because of the growing trend of globalization, now how are you able to preserve or adjust into other cultures as well? So do stay tuned, because we will be right back after a short break.